Jade Robrin. I hope you're having a lovely afternoon. Thank you very much for joining the program. It's that time of the week where we highlight our state, the great things that are happening around town, and you might have heard about a little-known event called Tasting Australia that kicked off yesterday. It is massive, and it gets bigger and better every year, and what I love about it, it's all around South Australia. It's not just your typical white tents, go in, buy a bit of food, have a bit of a taste. It truly is a fantastic food experience. And joining us in the studio today is Tasting Australia event manager Ross Ganf. We're also joined by Woodside Cheese Wrights manager Kris Lloyd, Duncan from Africola, that stunning restaurant that gets rave reviews week after week, and also Catherine with the most amazing sounding surname, far away.
Leparmentier.
Gorgeous. I would not even attempt to try that because I could not even say that. But you are the founder and executive director of the Great Wine Capitals Global Network. Everyone, thanks so much for coming in today. Ross, I'd love to start with you. Tasting Australia kicked off yesterday.
Yep.
To rave reviews. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It was huge, and it's just getting bigger and better every year, and the crowds are truly raving about it. You must be really proud.
We are, and I think it's been a mad 24 hours. I can't fathom how many meals we've already served. It's incredible. And I think a beverage is such an important part of this festival as well. It's a really integral part of the state. I think the beverage component to this particular event.
What's been some of the feedback so far? What are people loving?
Look, I mean, we actually snuck an early event in on the 29th with the Maggie Beer tribute dinner, which was a very, very emotional experience. It was every year we do a tribute. Last year was with Chong Lu. This year with Maggie Beer, as I had last year, as our patron. And it was a beautiful event where she actually brought back some of her old kitchen staff, and she shared those experiences with that staff, but also those patrons who were part of that pheasant farm generation. So it's a beautiful nostalgic look. And last night as well in Seppeltsfield with Fino, the great Marco Pierre White, 350 person sit down Italian feasting dinner, which was just absolutely incredible. The most incredible polenta that Marco did for us, which was just stunning. So, and also Duncan himself with Lennox Hasty in the Glasshouse Kitchen, which is for the very first time this year our own restaurant that Tasting Australia is heading up.
Well, you just highlighted the fact that it's all really hands-on experiences, isn't it? And you've got these incredible chefs and cooks from all over Australia, some from the world, and it's such a great opportunity for just everyday people like myself just to come in and have these experiences that really money can't buy.
Absolutely, and there's a complete focus on the culinary champions that we have in the state, but also internationally. But again, wine is such an important part of South Australian culture, and East End Cellars actually has a masterclass series which we is just as important. And I think being one of the great wine capitals, it's a very timely time to be buying one of those masterclasses and coming in and trying some wine.
Yeah, you touched on beverages being really huge. So what are some of the events? I love the sound of the wine disco.
The fresh wine disco, yes. Those three words have sold a lot of tickets.
Yeah, very clever marketing.
Yeah. So Taras Akota is one of our Tasting Australia ambassadors. Mm-hmm. Taras is from Akota Barrels. I think it's really important to do things in region, and I think your Radler and Basket Range, if you agree, Duncan, is just it's becoming one of the most interesting hotspots for winemaking in Australia right now.
I would say probably in the world, really.
Yeah, and I think that we have an obligation to make sure that we're I think there's a festival in Sydney called Rootstock, where a lot of those winemakers feature. But I think what's really interesting is why go to Sydney to look at those winemakers when you can come to where they actually make the wine, in the backyard. And the Fresh Wine Disco is a homage to that. So it's actually trying the most recent vintage, followed by disco.
Very, very cool. We are known for our wine, but becoming very well known for our gin as well.
We put a gin bar in Town Square yesterday, and it was by far one of the most popular offerings we had there. 9 local gins. And I think gin used to be for me more of a spring drink, but people just loving it yesterday. And so, I think we did over 9,000 people through Town Square yesterday, which is a free event. Certainly the gin bar was very popular.
I vote all year round for a good gin. And gin, here we've been experimenting with ants. And Kris, you're experimenting with ants in your cheese, is that correct?
Yes, I have. Yeah, they're amazing.
Please explain how those two go together.
Well, a little bit accidentally, really, I guess. But the ants that are green ants that are harvested from Northern Territory or the top of Queensland as well. Jocks on Frillo actually introduced them to me, we just started messing around with ants and cheese. And the fact that these little ants are they're actually really quite cute, and you can definitely see their little eyes, but they've got this little sac on their the back of them, and the sac is just loaded with this gorgeous elixir, let's call it, which tastes a little bit of a mix between kaffir lime and lemongrass.
Oh, yum!
So we actually put that with a goat's cheese, and it's just incredible. The flavour is amazing.
How on earth did that come about?
Yeah, like I say, a little bit by accident. Some of those accidental things, they just kind
the
of
best
work.
accidents in the world.
Yeah, so
we heard Ross talk about renowned chef Marco Pierre White. Duncan, you had him pop into Africola.
Yeah, a couple of times.
What did he think?
Loved it. Actually.
He's a scary dude.
He definitely has presence. I think I'm still nursing a hangover from the other night with him. But no, he's one of the, I would say, probably the best chef in the 21st century, really.
Well, it's a lovely compliment that he chose your restaurant to come in and you cooked for him. What was that like?
Good. I think it was. I think the cooking's fine. It was the sort of after party that I think broke me a little bit. But absolutely.
Well, you
fine.
obviously had something to celebrate. That's good. He liked your food. Did he give you a review?
Look, Marco's really honest about that kind of stuff. Really, he was putting his fingers in all my mise en place and all my prep during dinner, and watching completely.
How does that go as a chef? Do you get nervous, or do you just focus on the task?
I just focus on the heckling, really.
What'd you cook for him?
He just wanted me to cook for him, so he didn't order anything.
Mm-hmm.
He started off with our hummus and spicy lamb. So we actually make a spicy lamb oil and finish hummus. The hummus itself is flavoured with English mustard, which is a little bit different, and tahini, so a lot richer.
Yes.
Followed by a little bit of seafood, mullet and seaweed, and pippies and fermented chili. To our famous peri-peri chicken, which you can get enough of, really.
Can you tell me about, you've created a contemporary version of is it a shebeen?
Shebeen.
Shebeen.
Every 2 years we do a flip, really. So we started off in the south, and that was a shebeen, South African style shebeen.
Yes.
We've done the flip now. We kind of modern Maghreb eating house, so North Africa. And then we'll flip to maybe west or east, depending, on what my illustrious business partner, James Brown designer, feels like doing, really. And
Tasting Australia, how are you involved?
I'm doing quite a few events. I did a dinner last night with Lennox Hasty from Fidor and Teely from Anchovy. Yep. And then I've got a chef's quiz and the supper the final supper club. That's it. Which is kind of a collaboration. Everyone throws together some snacks or some sort of entree style for 200 people, and I think it's like a roving degustation almost.
Yeah, 25 chefs, and I guess the sort of highlights of the week almost, including Anna Ross from Slovenia, who recently won the best female chef in the world.
Yeah, she's very good. Pretty amazing. Now, you're also going to be, I guess, cooking on an open kitchen with a fire pit. That seems to be all the rage at the moment. Is that right?
Yeah, I was just saying to Lennox last night, because we were always picked to do those fire events around the country. So the next one we do is just going to be a suite of microwaves, I think, just to, just to keep it a little bit.
Just press go.
Exactly, just keep it a little bit controversial,
The science oven.
Exactly, just the water baths.
Well, I guess you've learnt that from Heston a little bit. You could take some tricks from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you gone back to the Fat Duck in Melbourne and caught up with him?
I haven't. No.
Once you've trained there, never go back.
No, I think the duck at the time was a moment in time for us. I was speaking to Marco about it anyway, because we all have a mutual friend. Stephen Blumenthal, Heston's father, was very dear to me as well as Marco. But I mean, I think that was a moment in time for us, for me in particular. It's not my bag anymore. I think. I don't know.
You've moved on. Bigger and better things here
absolutely.
in Adelaide. Stay with us. We're going to take a very short break, but we're going to tell you what are some of the really top events to go to for Tasting Australia, some family-friendly ones, and I guess the pick of our expert panel's punch. Stay with us. Good afternoon. It is 10 minutes to 2 o'clock. I hope you're having a lovely afternoon. You're chatting with Jade Robran, and we're talking about Tasting Australia. Catherine is the founder and executive director of the Great Wine Capitals Global Network. Catherine, you went to a big wine event for Tasting Australia last night. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, that was an amazing event. Very nice place. Well, what happened is that we had the wines of the Great Wine Capitals, that's 10 cities around the world that are recognized for the high quality of their wine and their wine tourism offer. So we were invited to participate in this event by Primary Industries and Region South Australia. And it was like we had 9 different places around the city in small bars and restaurants. And we were there with 2 colleagues of mine, one from Rioja in Spain, which is part of the Great Wine Capitals as well, and someone from Napa Valley, Catherine from Napa Valley. And we were sitting each in our bar and promoting our wines, talking about our destinations, talking about our wines to the consumers that had bought the tickets to attend this event. So I think we poured about 100 times 2 glasses to the visitors, and we, each in our place. I was, of course, as I'm from Bordeaux, I was promoting Bordeaux wine and Bordeaux destination, and so we served a blind tasting, 1 glass of a South Australian wine and 1 glass of Bordeaux wine, as far as I was concerned.
And of course, they love the South Australian wines,
and they loved both.
That's the right answer.
Yeah, Ross, what's special about South Australia's food and beverage industry, and why is it so important for the state?
I think it's the producers, really. And I think, Kris, you've got a really unique perspective on, as a producer.
Yeah, well, I think that, number one, we've just got access to the most amazing produce. We've got a fantastic clean environment, our waterways are clean, our pastures are clean, so we just start off in the best position. So I just think we, incredibly well placed to be doing this sort of stuff. And what Tasting Australia does is it creates a platform. It creates a platform for, me, a cheesemaker, or any other producer to be able to just raise awareness about what we're doing here, how good our produce is, and not just produce, but obviously, take that right through to wine as well. And, what it does for, I guess, culinary tourism as well is phenomenal. So, it's just an incredible event, and I'm really happy to be a part of it.
And an event like this, do you find that from people tasting your goods, you then find that you're on menus all around the country, if not around the world?
Definitely, absolutely. You know, particularly when we've got such high calibre chefs taking produce, or even in some instances milk and cream from our producers, and just turning it into this wonderful food that everyone can enjoy. So absolutely, yes, it goes a long way. It's not just what's happening today. The marketing component of it just carries on, and it's it's really quite powerful.
There's a car full of chefs right now in Goolwa actually looking at Goolwa pippies. And so as part of Tasting Australia, we make sure that we take the chefs on producer tours as well. Duncan, you're very intimate with a lot of these menus from both Victoria and New South Wales. I mean, there's a lot of South Australian product going on there, but both from beverage and also for maybe you want to talk to that?
Yeah, in terms of produce, I mean, pretty much, I'd say 75% of our seafood goes interstate as a rule of thumb. So, it just shows you the quality that's actually coming out of South Australia. In terms of, animals, for instance, I mean, you've got, Boston Bay, which, Jason's a pig producer for Boston Bay pigs, and I would say, hands down, the best pork product in the country, and, they're based in Port Lincoln. So, everyone recognises the quality, and especially in Asia. I mean, South Australian produce, is used in some of the best restaurants, in Asia. Just as again, rule of thumb, it's, the quality is fantastic.
How's the state government investing in the growth of our food and wine industry?
Look, I think a really great example is the Great Wine Capitals, and a recent appointment of as Peter Gago as the Great Wine Capitals Global Ambassador. Maybe, Catherine, you'd like to speak to that?
Yeah. Well, obviously, we invited the Great Wine Capitals Network, invited Adelaide as being part of the organisation. It's our newest member that signed in last almost a year ago now, because obviously we recognise on the international scale the quality of the products that you have here in terms of wine, of course, and wine tourism industry, but also the gastronomic. As when you talk about wine, you need the food to go with, and vice versa. So really, it was for us an obvious choice, to invite Adelaide to join in what they did, which is wonderful. And now we can share good practices with other regions, that top regions of the world. I mean, we are the 10 great wine capitals of the world. The 10 best wine tourism destinations, including gastronomic destinations. And Peter Gago was just named, invited to be the ambassador for Australia, for South Australia. Really understood the concept, and it's great that he accepted to participate and promote the Great Wine Capitals abroad.
From a programming perspective, it gives us, as Tasting Australia, this ability to have a network of friends around the world, which is great. We now have this sort of pen pal relationship that we can draw upon, which is really exciting.
Yeah, exactly. I think the good practices that we have here and there, you have extremely high-end experiences to offer in your wine regions, but so do we in Bordeaux, so do they in Napa Valley or in Mendoza, Argentina, and the sharing of those just makes it bigger for all of us.
Catherine, what was that word that you made up before that I was...
Oh, yeah. We invited the word in our Great Wine Capitals as co-petition. It's, benefiting of our competition in terms of the wine business itself to really build cooperation links together.
What about for the families out there? I mean, we're talking about a lot of wine and delicious high-end food, but what are some of the events that families need to get around?
Yeah, we've got an event run by Kris called Taste Buds, which happens in the town square, and it's about it's a children's event, and it's actually happens in one of our special glass houses, which we've made a very beautiful sort of coloured, almost cathedral. And they get to go in there and they learn about good food practices, healthy eating, and I think it's a really exciting and fun program, but also with a good education sort of angle to it as well.
How's the food food and beverage industry engaged in Tasting Australia, and how important is this for the success of the event? I spoke to Simon Bryant, and he said, it's great now that I don't have to go through managers and start 6 months out. Now the event's so amazing, and South Australia's got such a fantastic reputation. I can just pick up the phone now and get straight to the source, and they're like, hell yeah, I want to be involved.
Yeah, I mean, a classic example is we have a Rockford's basket press masterclass, and I think it's looking at 10 decades, and it's Robert's actual private cellar that he's opening up. You can't commercially buy these wines, and Rockford's is actually coming down to film it for time immemorial. So so when the next generation of Rockford's comes through, they have that ability to watch how he delivered an hour and a half masterclass. That's pretty significant.
And you've got a couple of events where if you can't get out to the country's coming to the city. Is that right?
Town Square has a really strong regional underpinning. Like yesterday, one of our ladies from Lindock, she actually sold 150 kilos of rib, and she's just ordered another 300 kilos for the next coming days. So,
goodness me!
I think also producers coming down from Clare Valley, York Peninsula. So absolutely, that regional underpinning actually happens day by day. So the way we scheduled the festival this year was to allow you to be able to travel in from a tourism point of view in a kind of almost like a consistent route. So you can go from Barossa. We clustered the events around Barossa. We've got clustered a bunch of events around Adelaide Hills so that you can sort of physically get to everything.
Now, Marco Pierre White, I'm just reading this little message that's popped up, will be at the Town Square at Tasting Australia from 6:30 p.m. Wednesday night for a talk. And he's also doing book signings after, and it's free and open to the public, which is good news because he's fairly popular, that Mr. White.
Yes.
What do you think's going to be the most popular event?
I think that will be pretty popular.
That one, the freebie, isn't it
funny? We're doing an event with him tomorrow with Clayton Wells and our own Jock Frillo. Jock actually was at Knightsbridge with Marco when they got the 3 Michelin stars.
Oh,
so
cool.
I think that's what's really exciting about South Australia is that we have these amazing curators and people like Simon Bryant who are so passionate about small producers. And people like Duncan who can draw upon these friendships and actually have these ambassadors come to our state and experience what we've got to offer here. And I know Marco went up to Kris's.
Yes, he did.
How was that?
Came and tried some cheese with me, so we tried around 15 or so cheeses, and yes, look, he thought they were amazing, which was really fantastic. I was really, really pleased. I didn't know he was coming. It was a very unexpected visit.
How did that play out? You just got a phone call to say,
no, actually just a little text message from Mr. Zonfrillo saying, "Are you there?" "Yes, I'm there. I might just pop in with a friend later."
No.
Exactly. So I had no idea, which in some ways was really good.
Yes,
so,
didn't give you time to freak out.
Yeah, we had a great time with him, and he's a really lovely guy. I really enjoyed the conversation just around food in general, and obviously, the fact that he liked our cheeses was a
big
great
bonus
thing too. Yeah.
Oh, guys, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate it, and all the best for the rest of the festival. We are doing an outside broadcast on Friday from Town Square, and we're going to be joined by Jock and also Anna Ross on the show.